Welcome to the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Prepcast, where we guide you through everything you need to know for your certification exam. Whether you're just starting or looking to refine your knowledge, this course will set you up for success. Brought to you by baremetalcyber.com. Let's get started. Protecting applications on the internet begins at the edge, where traffic first enters your environment. Attackers frequently target public endpoints because they represent the front door to your services. Amazon Web Services provides a suite of managed tools to help defend these points of entry: AWS Web Application Firewall, AWS Shield, and AWS Firewall Manager. Each has a different focus, but together they form a layered defense that helps block common exploits, absorb large-scale attacks, and manage policies across accounts. For learners, it helps to think of these as progressively stronger barriers. WAF is the gatekeeper, Shield is the fortress wall against floods, and Firewall Manager is the command center coordinating defenses across the kingdom. AWS WAF, or Web Application Firewall, allows you to define rules that inspect incoming HTTP and HTTPS traffic before it reaches your application. At the heart of WAF are Web ACLs, or Access Control Lists. These are sets of rules applied to resources like load balancers, API gateways, or content delivery networks. Each rule can block, allow, or count requests based on conditions such as IP address, query strings, or request headers. For beginners, imagine a doorman who checks identification, baggage, and behavior before letting people into a building. The rules act as the criteria for entry, helping keep malicious or unwanted traffic out. One of the most accessible features of WAF is its library of managed rule groups. These are pre-built sets of protections created by AWS or security partners that target common threats, such as SQL injection or cross-site scripting. By enabling a managed rule group, organizations instantly gain coverage against a wide variety of web attacks without writing complex rules themselves. Partner rules extend this further by offering specialized protections from trusted vendors. Beginners should think of this as hiring professional guards who already know the most common tricks used by intruders. Instead of reinventing defenses, you tap into established expertise. Beyond predefined threats, WAF allows the creation of rate-based rules that automatically block or throttle traffic when it exceeds thresholds. This is particularly effective against denial-of-service attempts or abusive bots that overwhelm endpoints with requests. AWS has also introduced specific features for bot mitigation, helping distinguish between helpful crawlers, like search engines, and malicious automation. Beginners can picture this as limiting how many times someone can knock on your door per minute, ensuring that automated hammering cannot prevent others from entering. These rules prevent resources from being overwhelmed while preserving access for legitimate users. IP sets, geo-match conditions, and header inspection extend WAF's capabilities further. With IP sets, administrators can whitelist or blacklist known addresses. Geo-match allows you to block or allow traffic from specific countries, useful for region-limited services. Header inspection lets you enforce conditions based on user agents or other request metadata. Beginners should see these as extra screening measures at the door. Some guests are turned away based on their origin, others on the credentials they present, and some based on suspicious behavior. These fine-grained options allow defenses to adapt to evolving threats. A key strength of WAF is that it can be associated with multiple AWS services, including Application Load Balancer, API Gateway, and CloudFront. This means protection can be applied consistently across web apps, APIs, and global content delivery networks. For learners, this is like using the same lock design on every entrance: front doors, side doors, and delivery gates, so the same standards are enforced everywhere. Associating WAF with these services ensures protection is distributed where users interact with your applications, no matter the channel. Visibility into traffic is essential for tuning defenses, and WAF supports logging as well as sampled requests. Logging allows every request to be recorded and stored for analysis, while sampled requests provide a manageable subset to review. This helps administrators see why a rule triggered and whether it is working as intended. Beginners should think of this like a surveillance camera that doesn't just stop intruders but also records how they approached. With logs in hand, teams can refine defenses, reducing errors, and learning more about attacker behavior. Rule testing and tuning are ongoing parts of WAF management. False positives, blocking legitimate traffic, can frustrate users and damage trust. WAF allows rules to be deployed in count mode first, meaning they log potential matches without blocking them. This safe testing ensures new protections work as expected before enforcement. Beginners should see this as rehearsing a security drill before implementing it for real. It prevents disruption while still advancing protection, reminding us that security is a process of continual calibration. Change management also applies to WAF rule sets. Versioning allows teams to maintain control over updates, rolling back changes if necessary. This helps prevent accidental outages caused by misconfigured rules. Beginners should think of it as keeping different drafts of a policy document. If the new version creates problems, you can revert to a previous one. Versioning provides safety and accountability, ensuring that changes to defenses don't accidentally harm the very systems they are meant to protect. It is important to distinguish between application layer and network layer threats. WAF primarily protects the application layer or layer 7, where web requests are parsed. Shield, by contrast, focuses on network and transport layers, defending against massive distributed denial of service or DDoS attacks. Shield standard is included by default with all AWS accounts, providing baseline protection against common volumetric attacks. This means that without doing anything, AWS customers gain significant resilience at no extra cost. Beginners should view Shield standard as the moat around the castle, always there, even if unnoticed. For higher stakes applications, AWS offers Shield Advanced. This paid service adds stronger protections, including more sophisticated DDoS detection, cost protection against scaling during attacks, and a financially backed service-level agreement. Shield Advanced customers also gain access to the AWS DDoS Response Team, or DRT, which provides hands-on support during incidents. Beginners should imagine this as having a dedicated rapid response unit on call, ready to help repel attackers at a moment's notice. While not every workload needs Shield Advanced, for mission-critical systems it can be an invaluable safeguard. The ability to engage with the DDoS response team is one of the strongest differentiators of Shield Advanced. These experts can analyze traffic in real time, apply tailored mitigations, and guide organizations through attack response. For industries where uptime is non-negotiable, this support can mean the difference between hours of downtime and continued operations. For learners, the takeaway is that AWS not only provides automated defenses, but also offers human expertise when automation is not enough. This combination of technology and people is what makes Shield Advanced compelling. From an exam perspective, learners should remember the distinct roles of these services. WAF filters and inspects web traffic. Shield defends against DDoS at the network edge, and Firewall Manager provides centralized policy management across accounts. Understanding which service to use in which scenario is a frequent test point. Beginners should treat these tools as parts of a layered defense strategy, each covering different attack surfaces. Together, they illustrate AWS's philosophy of shared responsibility. AWS provides strong protections, but customers must configure and apply them wisely. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. While WAF and Shield provide the actual defenses, AWS Firewall Manager steps in as the central coordinator. Firewall Manager allows administrators to define policies once and apply them consistently across multiple accounts and resources. Instead of manually configuring WAF rules or Shield settings in every account, Firewall Manager pushes policies organization-wide. For beginners, think of this as a central control room where one team sets the security posture for an entire company, ensuring no branch office forgets to lock its doors. This reduces complexity and eliminates gaps that attackers could exploit. With Firewall Manager, WAF, Shield, and even security group policies can be distributed across all accounts in an AWS organization. This ensures consistency while saving teams from repetitive setup. For example, you might define a global rule that blocks traffic from a certain country and apply it to every load balancer, API, and CloudFront distribution with a single step. Beginners should view this as stamping an organization-wide seal on every door, guaranteeing that standards are enforced everywhere rather than piecemeal. One of the strengths of Firewall Manager is scoping. Instead of applying policies blindly across all resources, administrators can target them to specific organizational units or accounts. For instance, a stricter policy may be enforced for production workloads, while more flexible rules might apply in development. This balances governance with agility. Beginners should think of it as zoning laws in a city. Different areas have different rules, but all still follow an overarching framework. Scoping allows security to match business needs without sacrificing oversight. Firewall Manager also centralizes exceptions and governance. When an account legitimately needs to diverge from a standard, administrators can document and approve it centrally. This avoids the chaos of individual teams making exceptions without coordination. For learners, this is like allowing a special building permit for one project while keeping the rest of the city aligned with safety codes. By bringing exceptions into governance, Firewall Manager preserves flexibility without compromising accountability. Shield Advanced adds another layer of value with DDoS cost protection. During a large-scale attack, resources may auto-scale to handle the flood of traffic, driving up costs. Shield Advanced customers are reimbursed for these spikes, ensuring that defenders are not financially penalized for staying online. Beginners should understand this as insurance coverage for emergencies. Just as fire insurance covers rebuilding costs after a blaze, Shield Advanced Cost Protection absorbs the unexpected financial burden of surviving a massive DDoS event. Incident workflows are also enhanced through Firewall Manager's dashboards and Shield's monitoring tools. These dashboards provide visibility into current protections, ongoing events, and organizational compliance with defined rules. Instead of each team scrambling to interpret their own logs, everyone sees the same unified view. For learners, this is like a central emergency operations center, where maps, alerts, and responses are coordinated. Shared awareness leads to faster, more effective responses when attacks occur. Observability is a critical component of these defenses. Logging from WAF, Shield, and Firewall Manager provides the evidence needed for both troubleshooting and forensic analysis. Reviewing sampled requests or attack patterns allows teams to refine rules, close loopholes, and reduce false positives. Beginners should see logging as the record of battles fought at the perimeter. They show who attacked, how they were stopped, and whether improvements are needed. Without this evidence, tuning defenses would be guesswork. Integration with AWS Security Hub and external SIEM platforms ensures findings from WAF, Shield, and Firewall Manager do not exist in isolation. Security Hub aggregates them into a centralized risk dashboard, while SIEM systems provide broader enterprise visibility and correlation with on-premises or third-party logs. Beginners should view this as stitching edge defenses into the broader nervous system of security operations. No single tool is an island, and integration ensures that alerts flow where they can inform strategy and action. Hybrid environments add another layer of complexity. Many organizations use both AWS and on-premises or partner solutions. Firewall Manager supports hybrid patterns by coordinating AWS native protections with external tools. This allows organizations to maintain unified policies across diverse infrastructures. Beginners should imagine a city that uses both local police and private security. Coordination is essential, so both groups enforce the same laws. Hybrid integration ensures that defenses do not fracture across environments. Cost and performance trade-offs must always be considered. More rules in WAF or more advanced protections in Shield can increase costs and introduce latency. Teams must balance comprehensive security with user experience and budget. Beginners should see this as choosing between thicker armor and faster movement. Both have value, but the right balance depends on the situation. Learning to tune rules and policies efficiently is part of growing into cloud security maturity. From an exam perspective, knowing which tool does what is crucial. WAF is for filtering and controlling web traffic. Shield is for defending against DDoS at the network edge, and Firewall Manager is for centrally managing these protections across accounts. If the scenario asks about blocking SQL injection, the answer is WAF. If it is about absorbing terabits of attack traffic, the answer is Shield. If it is about enforcing policies across 100 accounts, the answer is Firewall Manager. Beginners should memorize these distinctions clearly. Threat intelligence is constantly evolving, and so too must edge protections. Firewall Manager allows policies to adapt as new rules are published, managed groups are updated, or new attack patterns are discovered. This ensures that defenses are not static but responsive to the latest threats. Beginners should view this as updating locks and alarms whenever burglars develop new techniques. Security at the edge is never finished. It is an ongoing cycle of learning and adjusting. In conclusion, WAF, Shield, and Firewall Manager form a layered, centralized defense strategy for AWS applications. WAF inspects and filters web traffic, Shield absorbs large-scale network attacks, and Firewall Manager enforces consistent policies across organizations. Together, they simplify operations while reducing risk, providing both automation and expert support when needed. For learners, the key lesson is that edge security is not a single tool but a coordinated system, and AWS provides the pieces to build that system effectively. By combining these services, organizations gain protection, governance, and clarity, the hallmarks of strong network defense. That concludes today's episode of the AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner Prepcast. Be sure to tune in for the next episode and visit us online at baremetalcyber.com or cyberauthor.me for more resources, including news, mailing lists, YouTube videos, podcasts, and much more.